What is the most r/iam14andthisisdeep thing that you have done? I once wrote a really angsty poem, tied it to a helium balloon and let it float away. I hoped someone far away would find it one day and marvel at how deep and mysterious I must be. Went abroad for a year when I was 16. Was given a notebook time capsule thing in the first month to write my thoughts/hopes/etc. down on so that I could be shown them again at the end of my stay 11 months later. I wrote something along the lines of "none of this matters" in the center of the page and then gave it to the supervisor to be put away. When I got it back at the end of the year, I hadn't remembered what I'd written. So I was actually quite excited to open up the book. Instant disappointment. Had a name away message in high school that was, "I must be the greatest actor in the world because everyone believes I'm happy." When I was a 16 years old emo in 07, I was fully committed to getting a tattoo that said, "cut" across the dotted line on my wrist. Unfortunately, my brother trumped me in the deep stakes by writing song lyrics in his own blood on his bedroom ceiling. Used to listen to the Shrek cover of Hallelujah and cry. Where do I start? 1. Take off all my clothes and stand in front of my bedroom window to be seen. 2. Use the word maiden and yearning in my poems. 3. Watched every single Beatles interview on YouTube and cried because no one understands. 4. Spent endless hours on chat rooms trying to heal strangers' loneliness. 5. Wrote letters to boys that did so much as lend me a pencil. 6. Contributed to society through Yahoo Answers. You get the idea. I've recorded a lot of dumb songs in my life. I'm pretty open about sharing them all. However, there's this song I wrote when I was 16 about our high school's oppressive dean that is so unbelievably embarrassing and deep that I have nightmares about someone finding the recording of it and putting it online. When I was a freshman in high school, I had a crush on a gothy senior and wrote a poem called Mirror Image because I thought we were so much alike. She read it, she cried, and was yelling, "What does this mean?" to the air as her friend took her away to calm down. That was a good sign, right? I told myself. I wrote poetry. Each one was about death, being misunderstood, living as cogs in a machine, and the worst culprit was you left me in this endless rain. When I gave my umbrella to you only for you to give it to someone else, me dealing with a breakup at 13. I submitted to my English teacher for an assignment and she gave me an A+. I used to cut the tags off my shirts because I didn't want society to label me as small or medium. Shut myself in my closet with my portable CD player, hugged my knees to my chest, and stared into nothingness, letting myself feel I don't want the world to see me by the Goo Goo Dolls. Then I listened to it 10 more times, lip syncing along with passion, occasionally crying. And I don't want the world to see me, cause I don't think that they'd understand. When everything's made to be broken, I just want you to know who I am. Yup, deep stuff. Don't look at me, I'm so complex. Wait, do look at me. I once wrote "We are all just looking for stars in the sunshine" on my Facebook. People commented, teasing me that the sun was a star. So of course I got to feel all smart and pretentious because that's what I meant, and they just didn't understand my deep poetry. I once answered a thread with "I guess Einstein didn't know about the curse of knowledge." It's literally the only post I have ever deleted on this website. In middle school, a friend told me that she had thought of a really clever phrase, realize, realize. I thought it was the most deep thing to ever come out of someone's mouth and was impressed with her for creating it. A few months later I saw a post on Facebook with that exact same phrase, and you could say that I realized her real lie. I wrote all the lyrics to some Slipknot song and gave it to my mom because that's what you get when you take away my PlayStation. When I was in high school, during the MySpace days, I used to take many photos of random things on my digital camera, edit them in black/white in certain sections except for the object being photographed, and uploading them to MySpace with a deep title. This older Facebook friend of mine at the time, who I'd added because we were both in high school marching band, posted some of the lyrics to "Boulevard of Broken Dreams." I commented with the next line of the lyrics. He commented with the next line. I promptly googled, copied, and pasted the next line of lyrics. even though I totally knew them by heart. We kept going like this until he messaged me because I was so deep and on his level. We started dating a couple days later. Wrote a song for my emo band called You Stabbed My Bleeding Heart. Had never even kissed a girl or had a girlfriend, and had a good upper middle class suburban childhood free from depression and tragedy. Wrote the lyrics to Nin's Happiness in Slavery in magic marker on the walls of my bedroom closet in my parents' house. Not exactly deep but pretty cringe. In middle school I thought I was really cool and different for being nerdy and a girl, and so I made a private Facebook group where I posted about sci-fi movies and what to do in a zombie apocalypse etc. And to get in the group I made people do a quiz, except it was all opinion questions like which is better, Alien or Predator, and if their answer wasn't my opinion they couldn't join the group lol. I used to get really full of myself because I listened to older rock bands like Led Zeppelin and Van Halen and acted like I was the only teenager in the world that did. Still love all of those bands. When I was in 7th grade we had the assignment to do something that would be entered in a school art fair. I was really lazy and decided to just use every color of pastel that was available to draw a rainbow of sorts on paper. Then I tore it all into pieces and glued them all together again randomly. I called the piece Life and argued that it was supposed to represent the chaos and uncertainty that is life, and ended up winning first place in my grade's part of the art fair. Called a radio station and requested Amazed by Lonister to get played for an ICQ girlfriend I had that lived 4 hours away that had no way to hear the radio station lol. I was super cool. One time all my friends were fighting, so I shared a link to the Where Is the Love music video by the Black Eyed Peas on my Facebook page thinking they'd see it and be moved by it. Many years ago I said to a friend, when it comes to the dark, you aren't afraid of what's there, you are afraid of what's not there. I thought it was some profound moment. He said I was an idiot. Strangely though I was never scared of the dark after thinking that. Oh man, I was the singer in a band in high school and I did a ton of Jaden Smith crap. During one of our biggest shows I went on a super long rant about how people can be fake and high school was prison or something. I thought I was resonating with everyone on a big level, but now my friends tell me they thought it was the stupidest crap they've ever heard to this day. Back when I was literally 14, my best friend at the time and I tried to start this movement where instead of cutting, when we felt that urge we write a word on our arm that felt significant to us. It was based on the idea that the pen is mightier than the sword. Her first word was tree. I think mine was family. Back when I was actually 14 or 15, I was obsessed with M. Night Shyamalan and his twist endings. So any English creative writing essay I did had to have a really forced twist ending. The worst was one where I was writing from a pilot's point of view, and the twist that the whole time he was one of the 9/11 hijackers, and the story ended with a crash. When I was 16 I had a pretty bad breakup and decided to hoe my way through it and basically had a mantra of I don't like boys. I frick them. If that weren't bad enough on its own, I couldn't exactly say the second half of that mantra around adults, so I ended up saying I don't like boys a lot, and I was absolutely oblivious that I was making the adults in my life question my sexuality. Back when I was 14 I was one of those people who posted photos on Facebook with Miley Cyrus lyrics as the caption. I literally and non-jokingly asked my mom, why do I have to make my bed if all humans are meant to do is pass on their genes? We had just started biology. It hurts to remember. In middle school, me and two of my closest friends decided to start a journal. Each had their own, in which we would write terribly cringy poems, song verses, random quotes we thought were deep and bad doodles every night before going to bed. This went on for about 2 years and we'd sometimes even email each other our rough drafts for a vision or just to show off when we were very proud of a particular piece. Nearly a decade later, we still occasionally stumble upon our old journals or emails, and Jesus, saying they are bad is an understatement. I was telling my brother quotes cause he is slightly depressed, and he told me about the subreddit, and I've never felt so offended in my life. I recently came across poetry that I actually wrote when I was 14. It wasn't actually all that deep, but by God it tried. Did a MySpace photo shoot where I pretended to eat paint, but I didn't have an easel. So I used the back of a frisbee, then made everything black and white except the paint. I don't remember why. Also, put edgy Marilyn Manson lyrics in my MSN plus username in blood red. Pretended to cry in my sleep at sleepovers. Then the seniors came about, and suddenly I decided I had to show the world I was the most obsessed with rubber ducks. So I told everyone I had like 80. I had to. Everyone bought me ducks for the next few years. I didn't like rubber ducks, but no way in hell would I admit to lying. When I was in 7th grade, my mom finally let me join MySpace. During these tumultuous, pre-hormonal years, I freaking loved Evanescence. I decided it would be really tight if my MySpace name was XX. Am I too lost to be saved? XX. My mom found out and threw a freaking fit. The reference, naturally, went over her head, and she thought I was for sure suicidal. After the angst-fueled argument in the kitchen, I stormed off to my room, waited for AOL to do its crap, and made a new and improved MySpace name. Roughly Rowley didn't try to fix me. I'm not Brooklyn Rowley Roughly. Note, my profile picture was likely something rotated sideways, contrasted as frick, with some sort of Batwing Photobucket stickers on that crap. RIP MySpace. I set up a whole bunch of candles and incense. I made myself a pot of horrible blackberry tea. I wanted to meditate, but didn't know what to say. My parents walked in, stared for about 3 seconds and just cracked up. They were laughing so hard they struggled to close the door. When I was a preteen I had this quote about how the world turned its back on me, so I will turn my back on the world. Like honey, please. You sing songs from The Lion King almost every day. You are not a badass. Daydreamed that a shooter would come to my school and take me hostage in front of my psychology teacher, who I had a crush on. He would stare into my face, and I'd stare back with a look of heartbreak and he'd just know. When I was 13 over 14, I was the new kid in school and bullied a lot. Getting called an emo dyke a lot. Not entirely wrong, but I'm B, and didn't like their tone. So I decided, if anyone was going to label me, I was. So I started wearing vegetable can wrappers as armbands. I still want to die at the thought. I chose my English name, which I use to this day cause I was a beast with Brian in Tekken 4. Definitely my edgy atheist phase. When I was 15, I started a presentation with, if you aren't comfortable with Christianity being talked about in a negative light, you can leave the room now. Once I said to my father, the biggest pain for women is to give birth. For men is to go to war. And he was like, yup, I don't know what to do with that information. When I was 14 and an angry atheist I answered, why do we have religion? With to control the population. I used to get dressed in my Halloween costume, which was an old-fashioned lady's dress, and stand on the balcony and cry, because I knew I would never meet my true love, who was in Asia at the time. I was 14. Listening to emo and pop punk crap, thinking I was depressed. Now that I'm actually depressed I really miss being a poser. I wrote a poem about how much I hated my mom, because she wouldn't let me date a 22-year-old. I was 15. When I was a kid, like 12 or 13, I was given an IQ test. I used to quote the score to people. Makes me want to simultaneously projectile vomit and punch the younger version of me in the freaking face. My teenage now pagan phase. Nothing against new pagans. Lots of lovely people in that community. I was straight up cringe though. In 10th grade I wore a hood and never walked properly with the class. I'd walk in the ditch. If we were walking somewhere, I thought I'd be mysterious and deep, showing that I'm a special snowflake. To make it even worse I tried getting reputation as a psychopath, which I did by talking about bombs and terrorists every conversation and being generally edgy. Cringe. I used to take emo songs that I like and I'd write out the lyrics on a piece of paper because I felt like it was the only way I could truly appreciate the message of the song, and it would help me memorize all the words. Then I would fold it up into a tiny compact square and carry it everywhere with me. Perfect example is Hero/Heroine by Boys Like Girls. I'm pretty sure I still have that square somewhere in an show box full of dumb memories. Bonus, this was like my freshman/sophomore year of HS, and I graduated about 8 years ago. Extra bonus, don't tell my boyfriend, but I still secretly listen to emo music and Nickelback. It's my guilty pleasure. Once made a status saying you see a mousetrap, I see free cheese and a freaking challenge. In 9th grade science I was bored sitting in my desk and had the thought, our teachers come to school to learn, too, from US, they just don't realize it. I thought it'd be such a cool / wicked clever thing to say, so I purposely looked for an opportunity to use it. That opportunity came at the end of class, when we got our graded homework assignments back. I vaguely recall I got a 10/15 on mine, so as soon as the bell rang, I half-speed walked out of my desk and up to the teacher's desk and said, loud enough for the other students behind me to hear, "Hey, Mr. Teacher, just so you know, this doesn't define me. Some people are 10/15 science students, but 15/15 people," and literally interrupted what he was about to say to blurt out, "You come to school every day to learn too. You just don't realize it." That man gave me the nicest damn smile and said something like, "I'll keep that in mind. Thank you." And I freaking pointed at him and nodded. It didn't help that was one of my better grades throughout the class. 2.14-year-old me was just a real dip crap. Oh god. I wrote the freaking numbers from Donnie Darko on my arm. I told a boy that wanted to go out with me that I was afraid that I would never love again after having had my heart broken, and that I needed to find myself. There was quite a bit more dramatic soap opera terminology in this little speech, and he bought it, hook, line and sinker, because he apparently lived in the same mental soap opera. Got my first girlfriend at about 14. Her name was Layla. I listened to Eric Clapton's Layla, and only Eric Clapton's Layla non-stop for that entire week, because that's what you do when you're in love, right? Still can't listen to that song without feeling like an idiot. When I was around 12-13, I ironically read the entire Bible. Listened to mid-2000s pop punk as an adult. Back when I was 14 I wrote a freaking poem for my crush on MSN, line by line. Live, not something I'd thought about and prepared beforehand. Just wrote it on the spot. It wasn't about her. Thank frick. I just wanted to impress her or something cause she liked poetry and man, it was garbage. But I thought I was the shit. It was like 8 lines or so. Don't remember it all, but part of it was, travel this world to see my life as it's unfurled or something like that. Even threw in a holy crap message partway while I thought about how good I was out of nowhere. If I met my past self I'd probably want to give him a smack upside the head. After my breakup I literally googled angsty anime quotes to put on my Instagram. Who here hasn't written angsty poetry? Show of hands. The first time I got high, I looked over at my brother and said, "Isn't time a disturbing concept?" My yearbook quote was a line from Comfortably Numb. When I was literally 14 and just consumed with hormonally fueled love for my first girlfriend, I wrote the most nakedly honest song, enumerating in detail so excruciating that the memory of it can still make me need to curl into a ball on the floor. The innumerable ways she was amazing. I included things like her eyes, her hair, her walk, her lips, and then, God help me, I sat at her family dining room table, in front of my girlfriend, her sisters, a handful of their neighbors, and her goddamned parents, and sang it to all of them, line by horrifying line, while looking directly into her father's eyes and accompanying myself on acoustic guitar. Frick me. This entire thread reminds me of my brother, my 40-year-old brother. Every freaking word. I need to have a talk with him. Listening to 21 Pilots and thinking I had the most interesting and most unique taste on the planet. Debating my Christian friends about God's existence while playing Call of Duty. I read Atlas Shrugged cover to cover and talked about it to everyone. I was convinced that I'd found the one true philosophy and everyone else was being fooled. God help me. The school I went to ended after 8th grade, so I was about to be starting high school with a bunch of people I didn't know. After schooling with the same, very small, group of kids from K8, it was the intervening summer, and I was binging the X-Files on Netflix. but really paying much more attention to typing up a lengthy text to my best friend about how my mom was making me get rid of my old, worn down bed sheets and replace them with new ones, and how that was upsetting me, and how it was an allegory for change in general, and how terrible it is. I then deleted everything I had written to instead send something along the lines of, "Oh my god, Mulder and Scully just kissed our priorities in check." There. I used to post Linkin Park lyrics as my Facebook status in high school. Messaged a radio show indignantly after they discussed Lost and made fun of some aspects I forget, in order to tell them all about the theories people were weaving on the internet and why all that stuff could make sense. It was so ridiculous and extra that they read it on the air. Boy did Lost show me later. Just thinking about a summer I had helped a friend with a breakup, so I started thinking I was a legit psychologist and attempting to treat any I deemed as repressing something. Pretty much anything I have posted on Facebook. 1998. I'm 16. My friend left her acoustic guitar at my house. I had my other friend take some angsty teenage photos of me while I pretended to play. I had been proudly sharing that photo with any 16, 19/M who would pay attention to me in the AOL chat rooms for months before someone pointed out that I was holding it upside down. When I was like 6 or 7 I thought I was magic. I'd hold a hand up in front of my face and try and figure out what UGR card I was holding. Long story short, I believed I had the ability to see through my hand. So I proudly showed my mom. She proceeded to tell me how our eyes are pretty good at seeing around objects, and that my magic abilities might not be so magic. Haha, talk about a shot to my 7-year-old ego. Thanks for the honestly, mom. Glad I didn't try enter my act in an elementary school talent show. I used to update my AIM profile with Census Fail lyrics. When I was in 6th or 7th grade I printed out a picture of a black rose with the caption, "The life your child leads is not the one you want them to lead," and taped it to my door. I thought it was super deep and meaningful, because I mistook my parents want me to get good grades so I can be successful with my parents at trying to take control of my life. They never gave me crap for it, though they were appropriately puzzled when I put it up. I kinda cringe at the edginess when I think about it now. Additionally, once my mom took my computer because I was giving her an attitude and I took my iPod outside and blasted Linkin Park while I sulked. I was a really lame tween. I saw this quote rise up against the ruling class and its lapdog the middle class somewhere and decided to make a massive poster of it for my bedroom wall. I was so inspired by it at the time. I'm now a lapdog. Everything in the year 2009. I was born in 1995. You can do the math. Not me but my brother, 13 at the time. He's 19 now. Posted this to Facebook. I'm done looking for the one true love. To this day I don't let him forget it. I thought I was the one who came up with the phrase "life sucks and then you die." I wrote it on the bottom of my brand new bed my parents bought me. Wrote a song to the tune of "If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands." Changed the lyrics to "If you're happy and you know it, pop a pill." 10 years on, and I have never popped a pill. There was this app for the iPad which lets you add super cool special effects to any video. There was some competition going on within the app where they'd reward the best mini movie made with it. I recorded one where I made my dad act as if he's getting destroyed by a laser shooting robot. The acting was the kind you'd be super embarrassed to even show to your wife, but I thought it was JJ Abrams' great action. And then I sent the link to all of my Facebook friends asking them to vote for it and share so that I can win. I'm sure my entire class then had laughed at my dad at least once. I made an edit back in 2015, black and white text over a black and white image. It read, "Stressed, depressed, and band obsessed." I watermarked it with my Instagram ad, which at the time was silently judging you. I still haven't deleted it. When I was 14 I made a private Pinterest page called Living It Just Hurts, sometimes filled with black and white emo pictures that look like they were taken in 2003 with deep edgy quotes over them, and I'd fantasized about dying and having people log into my account and see all these deep pins and that would show them. I feel ashamed just typing this out. Yuck. I know it will be buried, but I need to tell this one. Once someone gave me total control over an online forum. The girl was too busy with college or something. It was a very light-hearted thing. Like, we loved weird guys. The girls would post about how they liked some type of guy with certain looks. Some of them liked nerds. Others were into metalheads. And so on. And some guys came to us to get their self-esteem up a little. Looking back, I realized we loved weird guys was a pretty wholesome place. Actually, I was deep in my postmodern, nihilist phase, and after spending some time spamming the forum with dumb threads about how everything was pointless or whatever, I just changed the name to something very deep and stuff we aren't. I wrote a pretty stupid manifesto about being different, a we live in a society essay, and essentially destroyed the whole thing. The forum broke apart soon after and everyone hated me. TBH, I didn't remember this whole thing before now, and I'm feeling somewhat guilty. 15-year-old me was a jerk.